Hey, VC here. Today we're breaking down this Merced Crit that I did. There's only 9 guys in the race. One of them is my teammate. And so it's going to be really difficult to do much. But bro, I hit him with that Zwift start. From the gun, just full gas, right? I mean, as hard as I could possibly go, just like it is on Zwift. They usually used to call this a cyclocross start. But now with Zwift, this is a Zwift start. Full gas from the second your foot touches the pedal. Now, I did this because there's very few people in the race, and 2 of them are pure sprinters, Randy and Matt. They're pure sprinters, so they don't want to do really any work at all. So they're not going to chase me. I have my teammate; he's not going to chase me. And then Jonathan Baker, the mustache man, he races super smart, so he's not going to chase me. So it's like out of 9 guys, who really is going to chase this move? So the idea is that I'm going to force other guys in the race, ideally the sprinters, to actually have to do some work to let my teammate just ride wheels this whole race. That was it. Let's just ride wheels. Let's make my teammate be able to ride wheels the entire time, and I'm just going to blow my doors off. Steven went with me though. So he went with me. I was super stoked that he went with me so that we could make this break work. Got a little cow on the back. I was checking that out. That's awesome. But so I did 500 watts for the first minute of the race. In this breakaway, I ended up doing almost my best 15-minute power. It was like 380 watts, I believe, or something crazy like that. 375, 380 for 15 minutes. And so we've got a good gap, and I want to go all in on this, right? So I tell him some encouragement here.
Let's fuck this, dude. Let's get it.
Just saying like, bro, we got it. We got this. Let's work. Because that's the thing, man, is sometimes there's guys, they don't want to work. They just want to sit on wheels, and we're really early on, so I want to make sure that we're all in.
Let's go all in on that, dude. We got it.
So I even tell him, bro, let's go all in. Let's just all our chips on this. And it lasted for about 15 minutes, which was really good. And honestly, there's a solid chance we could have lapped the field in the first 20 minutes because of who was in the group and who was motivated to work. It's very likely that they could have just shut it down and said, bro, we're over it. And everyone would have looked at each other. We would have lapped the field. And, that would have been phenomenal. It didn't end up happening that way. We did get caught.
That's it, dude. Good job.
Jonathan Baker goes to the front. And then it was kind of a weird moment, right, when we all came back together because no one wanted to work. And again, my job here is for my teammate, my sprinter. Isaiah is a great sprinter. He's actually like a world level ice skating sprinter. Okay, so Jonathan throws his elbow, and I tell him, hey, man, I'm smoked, dude. I've been off the front for 15 minutes. He said, we've all been off the front. So, whatever. Kind of noodling, and then it was a preem lap, which means it's $10 to the next guy across the finish line. I'm not making attack. I just saw Randy going up the inside. He started to go, so I sort of went just to, mute that to try to keep, on the front. Jonathan Baker, mustache man, he makes this attack for the $10 preem. But then my teammate goes to the front, and man, that's not good. I right now, I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, dude, every bit of work that I just did for the first 15 minutes is going out the window if my teammate is doing work. The whole point of me going all in on this 2-man breakaway from the gun was that he didn't have to do anything. He could just sit in. So I'm seeing Matt and Randy just recovering. That's what I'm in my head. Oh my goodness, they're just recovering. But my teammate Isaiah did bring back Jonathan. I don't think Jonathan was all in on that. He just wanted to get that $10. Matt, he attacks. He goes all pink, skin suit there. And I don't know who the guy in the blue is, to be honest. I don't know who he is. But anyway, this is such a small group. We did have 2 guys from the Ascend team, Joe Booth, and then one of his teammates. They actually got dropped, I think, pretty early on. But so then everyone's fanning out. Attacks are going on. That's not good for my teammate. So then I go again, right? And here's the thing. It's like, so when these little attacks are going, even if you're on someone's wheel, if someone's accelerating really hard, you're still having to burn energy. So I don't want that to be the case. I want it to be a much more smooth race for my sprinter. So I go off. I get a small little gap, but it was not really much to write home about. Now, I use a trick that I learned from Robert Skinner from Mike's Bikes. He was off the front in one race, and he was taking these crazy lines that weren't like the apex. Like if you were racing a street bike or a moto, like they're not the right lines. But he was saying just to hug the insides way tighter because it's a less distance around the course. I was doing that a little bit. I felt good about it. Then Randy starts attacking. Some more attacks start going right here. My teammate's in with that move. I'm pretty stoked about that. So I'm going to let everyone else that's behind me kind of fill in. But you can still see I'm doing 500 watts, right? And again, at this point, I mean, it was just from the gun, I was setting power records throughout this entire race. It was unreal. We start lining it up right here. And then I use momentum, right? I'm doing 27 miles an hour. Everyone's fanned out all the way to the left. I kind of just flick it to the right, use my momentum, and go again. My teammate's on the front. And, dude, we're so early on in the race that a chance of a solo break working is not likely. But that's not the purpose. The purpose is not for me to win. I'm not actually trying to win the race right now. I'm trying to make it to where other guys have to spend their energy and that my sprinter gets to just sit on and recover and have other guys burn their matches, right? Eat off their plates before he eats off his. Now, I was pretty stoked to be out here by myself, but I could see them, and even Jonathan said, like, they were just feathering the gap, right? They would chase enough to bring me back, but then let me kind of fade out again, which is, just monitoring my gap. And so then I'm not going to just ride away, right? They're going to just keep me in check, but I'm out here doing 350 watts for so long. I want to say I was out for 6 or 7 laps. I was out for a really long time by myself, and they kept like fanning out, and then they'd get single and they'd chase me, and they'd fan out again and they'd start chasing. I think I picked up a $10 premium while I was out here. But again, every moment that I'm off the front means my teammate is doing zero work. So after a heroic effort, I see Jonathan Baker, the giant mustache, on the front attacking, okay? And I'm like, oh shit, they're coming fast and hard. And what Jonathan's going to try to do is just blast by me and pop me so that I'm not even in the race anymore. And this right now was the hardest part of the race because at this point, it's about 30 minutes into the race. Again, I am at my 30-minute all-time power. Okay, dead. I had to do like 5. And so then what I did was I ramped up. I didn't just wait for the group to catch me. I was sprinting before they even caught me. It's the only reason that I survived, the only reason that I was able to stay on with this group. Jonathan looked back, I'm going to assume, to think, hey, did I flick you? Did I totally roast you? Which was so close. If I hadn't started that sprint before he caught me, 100%, I'm out the back, and there's no way I'm getting back on. So it's like, dude, Jonathan just knows how to race so well. The giant stash is a source of magic. There's just no other way to explain him as a human. So right now I am waxed, and I tell my teammate that I am waxed. I'm waxed, bro. To let him know, like, hey, bro, you need to go. And right now, as that I'm looking back at this, he should have made this move. Jonathan goes up the road. My teammate should have made this bridge. Okay? But he who hesitates masturbates. I can't let that move go. It's late in the race, and Jonathan has the power to stay away. So I'm just like, I'm going to give one more last-ditch effort and try to make it up to the stash. and see what happens. And then, man, this is really where I start to make I make a humongous mistake, and where like the title of like there are no friends in racing. I was trying to be friends. This bridge right here, this bridge effort, bro, it hurts so bad. I was so deep, and I had a gap, and it was like right now I'm thinking I'm not gonna make it. There's no way I'm gonna make that little bit, and I'm pushing super hard. But I could tell that actually the stash, he's looking back, and he wants me there, right? He wants me to be on, and I even say like, bro, let me back on. And so then he does, he lets me on, and then I'm like, okay, let's go, and he goes, and then here, dude, I should have, technically speaking, as in like cycling tactics, done nothing. Should have just sat on his wheel and said, if you want to go to the finish line without those sprinters, it's solely on you, bud. Because I put myself into a perfect situation. A perfect situation. So right now, I have a decision. Be a dick, win the race, or don't. And don't win the race. And I guess in my hypoxicness, and dude, I'm here to race, bro. Okay, look, tactics, use your tactics. Do whatever you want. Cycling, it's in the rules. But for me, to be honest, I come here to race my bike. It's my mentality to race. It's not my mentality to win. And that's probably because that's probably the reason I've never won before, is that I really don't come thinking win at all costs. I come to race and have fun. I'm not a pro. It's a hobby. I want to race my bike, dude. And to me, if I just sat on his wheel and just been like, no, dude, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to ruin your race and just sit on your wheel. You know what I mean? I don't know, bro. That's just like not, to me, it's not the sense of sport. It doesn't feel right to me to do that. Now, looking back on this, I definitely did a lot of work in the race. And if there was ever a time where I earned the ability to be a total dickwad, this was it. So, I was hypoxic. I was in the pain cave. I was hurting. I wasn't thinking about that. But now that I look back on it, shoot, dude. And then what Mr. Stash does to me, I really should have been a dick. I totally should have been a dick. I should have just said, not going to happen. I'm sitting on your wheel because my teammate is in the group. So, psych, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to do anything. If you want to bring me to the finish line, that's on you. And I would have recovered. I would have been able to go with his attacks. And not that I would have out-sprinted him, but it would have came down to a chance of me winning. But instead, I take a major pull. I go, bro, I'm going to show you how strong I am. Like, we're friends. Like, we're in this together. We're in war. So that I go to the front, I put this big pull down, and then he attacks me, which is like the perfect scenario. In his mind, he's just thinking, I cannot believe this idiot who likes to shove carrots up his butt is pulling really hard on the front. I'm going to attack him, and he's going to be smoked. Like, Jonathan Baker, racing 101. Bro, that guy just knows how to race. Every move he does is like the perfect move. So, he rides off into the sunset. And then I guess he actually ended up lapping the field and then trying to pull me back. What's that freaking mustache man, dude? So at this point, he's not that far ahead of me, but I have nothing, dude. My best hour power ever, I want to say, was like 317 watts. Something like that. Maybe, I can't remember. It's not much, like 320 at the highest. Right, and that was at the Chico race last year, the race around the track. I did, at 58 minutes, I was 350 watts, 351 watts. So in the last 2 minutes, the race ended, actually, and so I didn't technically go out to an hour, but I 100% could have done 350 watts for an hour at 155 pounds, bananas. I got super aero. I was taking lines. I kept looking back. I was so worried they were going to catch me. I had to stay out for 9 freaking laps, dude. 9 laps. Vomit fest. But I did. I stayed away for a second. So in retrospect, when I'm looking back at this, you know, I was all in for my teammate. and ended up making a move in which, why was I helping that move even be successful? I did all this work for my teammate. I should have stifled that move. I should have shut that move down with Jonathan Baker and not let it be a thing. And then when my teammate came back, he'd have been fresh. He probably would have won. But going back to that, I go into races literally thinking I want to race my bike. And that's what I do. I race my bike. Not great tactics there at the end for me, but I think other than that, I really rode probably my best race I've ever ridden. Power-wise, objectively, 100% raced the best race I've ever ridden. My teammate did not do well in the bunch sprint because he thought there was one more lap to go. He's a speed skater. He comes from ice skating, so he still has a little bit to learn. But either way, second place on the day, blew my butthole out with power and got smoked by the mustache. So I don't know. I'm going to have to be a dick, I guess, in future races. I don't like that, man. I don't like being a dick. Not that he's a dick, but he's just raced really smart. And so there it is. Guys, thank you so much. Vegan Cyclist.
You.